Hey everybody!
Hello, I'm Jess.
I'm Mallory.
And today we thought we would do our first kind of podcast episode to where we just give our backstory. We did kind of a small video before just introducing what Side Quest was going to be about. But we thought today that we'd start a podcast series to where we kind of give you the inside of where we come from, how we got here, and what we plan to do with Side Quest. So, I guess I'll start. I have been an artist majority of my life. My dad always drew, and I remember like sitting in a chair with him and drawing ever since I, was little. And he always drew just like color pencils, regular pencil stuff like that. But I just really took interest in it. And I kind of off and on have like done different things. I really got into the paint stuff once I got into high school. And even though I was kind of self-taught, like from what my dad knew and like what I've just kind of learned on my own, I took an art class. Loved the art teacher. Art teacher's always fun. And she was just amazing and just so encouraging. Yes. And she was like, she kind of called herself a bit of a hippie, which I thought was funny. It kind of fit, but she was just such a vibrant person.
Yes.
And I loved her class. She introduced me to a lot of different stuff that I'd never done. So we did lots of different sculpting and things like that, different medias that I had never done before. And actually the leopard up there that I redid, which prints will be available of at some point.
And there's a video of where it was and where it came to.
That actually came from that art class. That was when we did charcoal. Now I wasn't a fan of charcoal because it's just messy. And I am one of those artists that I don't feel like I did something unless your hands are dirty. Like when you paint and you get paint everywhere. I don't know how it gets in some of the places it gets in, but it's still, I don't know, it's part of the reason why I love physical art. Digital art has its place, and I've messed with it here and there. But it's one of those things that it's something about the smell, the feel, the texture of that kind of stuff. And when my paint, everywhere, all different colors and stuff, it's just, when you wash it off, it's like, oh, I did something,
Well, from your last video though, seeing it start from scratch, I've let my kids watch it.
Yeah.
Even Madison. And she was like, is she Houdini? And I was like, no, she just enjoys that.
Well, you know what was really cool about that video? I've never watch my process, and that's the first time I've done that. And I've actually, the idea come from because people have asked me that. Melissa asked me that because she's interested in the markers as well, and that's something I talk about in that video. Is I always thought markers, and I'm like, I've my experience was like Crayola, and so when I tried. When I first saw people using these, I was like, how is that marker? There's no way.
I still don't understand it, so.
Yeah, well, and I just I don't know. I was like, there's no way you can get that with markers.
But your video, though, should.
Well, that's why I kind of thought to do it, because Melissa had the same thing. And one of the main things that I talked about in that video, just to try and help other people, because I watched other videos trying to figure out, okay, what kind of markers? Because the Copics, I cannot pay $8 a marker. I mean, I like to have a color palette.
Yes.
And I know you can do things with smaller, but I'm just one of those people, I love a spectrum. But I knew from experience with past medias, getting the cheap stuff, you ruin your experience from the start, because if you're going for the cheap stuff, a lot of times you are limited to the actual product you're using. It's not necessarily that you can't get better at it, but it's just not worth it.
It leaves a bad taste in your mouth.
Yes, and good example is Melissa bought the 320 set of the really cheap alcohol markers, and it's not her ability, it's the actual markers, because they just don't, they still have the marks, you can see really bad, they don't blend and smooth, whereas the more, I guess premium, expensive ones do. But again, nobody wants to pay, unless you're a professional artist that can afford it, you can't pay that much, $8 every marker. So that's when I watched a lot of videos, did a lot of research, and found out about the Ohuhu, which to me, the brand name is just so funny. Every time I say it, Brian laughs at me. But
I love it.
I know. But I feel like an owl. But they're great. They're kind of that middle, and so many other artists were like, this is the next best thing to Copics. So that's when I decided, okay, I'm going to give them a shot. And what I did is I ordered a small basic color set for like $30, which is still expensive for markers, but you know, it was something to give me the opportunity to see if it truly was a difference from what like the ones like Melissa got. I was hooked immediately. I did just like a few basic things, you know, trying to test the different blendings and stuff. And there are people who are professionals with them that I don't know how they do what they do with them. I hope to achieve that one day. But I'm also one that I like kind of figure it out on my own too. And that's when I started playing with it. And I went from acrylic paints being I guess what I lean into the most, to the markers just grabbed me because I've always liked to draw. But with acrylic paints, I got to where I could kind of achieve more of that realism. Well, with the markers, it's kind of somewhere in between where I can actually do more of somewhat of a realism, but it kind of has that, what I call that kind of anime manga, kind of illustrated look to it, somewhere in the middle there. And I've been very heavy-handed my whole life. Like, I want to make them lines dark, you know, so I've always kind of leaned into that. And something else I talk about in that video too is where I learned way too late in life, but did learn it, you know, start getting lighter the further you go away with your pen lines. Well, these markers are amazing for getting that soft background where you still kind of have lines, but without the pens. So it was just a whole new like experience for me that I really got into. And that's kind of what's led me to where I'm now. And our little art club that we started with our group of friends, I have several different friends who are artists, and we all kind of have our different styles. And, you know, Blake does the music, but the rest of us do different like art, you know, so one of them's digital. Both of them kind of dabble in digital, but, you know, Melissa's does a lot of traditional like I do. And we started it because somewhere along the way, we lost our inspiration to do things. It's like, well, you always get stuck inside your own box of, you know, like, how do I come up with something to create?
Yeah.
And I'm sure you probably, even just like with 3D printing, how many times have you been like, what should I print?
Well, but you know, talking about your drawing and stuff though, I've been here for almost 4 years and watched it grow.
Yeah.
And the art prompts, it's pretty amazing to watch what you can come up with from an art prompt that you never would have even thought about.
Well, it puts you so much outside of your box.
Yes.
And that's something like, seriously, my favorite one I've ever done is an acrylic, is the one that I named the Mage's Mirage, which is the purple kind of wizard tower in the desert. That art prompt Melissa gave was Desolate Desert. And when she first gave that prompt, I was like, oh, no inspiration. I was like, what the heck am I going to do with this? Like, but that's the whole point. I took the challenge, and that's the thing. That's why we wanted to rotate it out, because somebody's going to give you something. I would have never picked Desolate Desert, but we give ourselves, which we've stretched it to 2 months now, so that we can kind of have more time to really develop if we're really putting a lot into a piece.
Well, it's growing. I mean,
yes.
You know.
Well, the talent, even like Melissa, it's amazing. Seriously came from drawing stick people to doing realistic color pencil.
I was here for that, and I've been amazed.
It's impressive.
Yes.
I love to watch her journey, and she is continuing to grow. Like, love her so much, and I can't wait to see how far she goes. But it's one of those things that it gives you a deadline. It's like, okay, and puts you outside of your box. And when she gave that prompt, I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do for this. But I've actually come to learn to appreciate the journey of, once I'm given that prompt, the actual like, what am I going to do with this? And that figuring that out and piecing it together and trying to take something that puts me outside of my box, but I give my spin on it to where it's my art style and what I do with things, which usually leans into the fantasy and, you know, purple.
The bright colors, though.
Yeah.
The colors are my favorite.
And, you know, purple is by far my favorite color.
Yes.
But I also, it's hard to say that I have a favorite color because it depends on what it is, what my mood is. I just love color in general. And I think to me, most artists, I feel like, are that way because you can't just pick one. They all have their place. So it's one of those things that I do lean towards purple on a lot of things, but sometimes I don't. But that one, when it took so much, and I want to do a different podcast talking about my process of how I do that, because the whole AI thing is a really big controversy right now. And I think there are ways as artists that we can use it as a tool, to help visualize things out of your head to where you can create reference to use for your own art. If you can't quite figure out how to do something, and then actually create your own art from it. But you know, that whole process of figuring that out and then actually creating the piece, like, I've come to enjoy it. So it's, we recently got our newest one, which I won't say what it is yet because I plan on doing art prompt videos, just like the Onyx one that I just put out.
Well, we are going to try to do a podcast video of Jess trying to show me how to draw.
Which is going to be a lot of fun.
So she criticized my horse that I drew one time really, really, really bad.
It was not a horse.
It was a horse to me, okay? So that should be a great video to watch.
Tells me you have a great imagination.
There's imagination there.
But, you know, all of that being said, just kind of my, like, where I've gotten to, is I've done this my whole life off and on, and creating things and trying new things. I tried stained glass once. Been there, done that. Won't do that again. My hands were so sore. I've tried wearing gloves for stuff and like that. I got to feel it. I got to feel it to get those details and little shards of glass and stuff. I still have the stained glass. I actually created it it was a mirror that I did the mosaic around, kind of like a tropical thing. I will try just about anything creative that strikes me once. And I feel like there's a lot of artists out there that are like me. And I feel like you're lying if you say otherwise. You'll see somebody else do something.
Be like, I can do that.
I can do that and I can do it better. and that is, Brian picks on me about this. My husband constantly is like, yeah, I could probably do that better. I'm like, so maybe that's a toxic trait, but I think it's an artist trait, but I don't think it's a bad thing. If you are inspired by something somebody else did and you want to do your own take on it, what you do for you is better. So, you know, I agree. It's all part of that, I think, being inspired from each other.
Yes.
And sharing that. So I think that's one reason why I love the art club. It's not that, oh, yours is better than mine, or, you know, oh my God. It's none of that. I enjoy seeing the different artists and their style. And it's so cool how, like, these art prompts, sometimes it's amazing how we all get on the same wavelength. And the one I just did with the fox, would you believe 3 out of the 4 of us did something with, like, wolves and foxes?
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's crazy how that, like, and the prompt was compound word. I picked butterfly to make onyx and the butterflies fit because I was really wanting to do that, you know, as some type of art piece. But it was crazy. They were all completely different, but somehow or another on the same wavelength. It's so interesting. But then there's other times we all go completely different directions. But what's interesting too is you realize, like, just looking at a piece, I know who did it. And it's neat to watch other artists come into their own and how they grow and their own style develop. So I never look at it as a competition. None of us do. It's a, like, supporting each other and our own styles.
Well, and I mean, seeing the different concept from just a couple of words each person takes from it.
Yeah.
That tells you just how different everybody is. Even when there are similarities, people are their own people.
Yeah.
Or own person, excuse me.
How everybody's mind works differently.
Yeah, like how you can look at something or you hear something and you see one thing and I see something else. Even if it's still along the same line of it, but it's still completely different.
I know. And it's so neat to watch that. So I encourage anybody, if you have people around you that are artists, or you can find a group of artists, like, it's it's so awesome to get yourself out of that box. And the art prompt thing, and one reason why we started it too is our discussion was we were talking about like there's tons of art prompt lists online, and there's like Inktober and stuff like that. Well, here's the thing, most of them are so simple. It's the same stuff over and over, and it's basic stuff. I'm like, I'm not inspired by that at all. But when other people come up with stuff, and honestly, one of our favorite ones has been pick a compound word or pick a word that ends in TION. Like Greg's done a lot of those, and that's some of my favorite ones have come from that, because you go and you like search up, okay, words that start with this or end in this or compound words, and you start looking through that list. And just reading those different words, and some words you never would have thought of just on your own, like stick out, and it's like, oh my God. And some of our coolest pieces have come from that. So it's really awesome if you're an artist that's stuck in your own head, because I think everybody has the same tendency. You like what you like, and it's hard to break out when you want to do something in your style, but get a different idea to go from. And I've done so much fantasy stuff, the dragons, the swords, the castles, and I still do those, but kind of giving different spins on those, or even like the animal series I've started with the fox, the leopard, all that kind of stuff. It's helped get me out of my box. So I think that's an awesome thing for people to do as well. But that's kind of bringing all of that around, I suppose. That's always been my background. But today's world, kind of where you just have to survive, is been in the corporate world for a long time. I've done payroll, HR, helped with like hiring orientations, and then where we met later on with like doing big national accounts and accounts receivable, things like that. And even though I'm thankful for those jobs, and I'm thankful that it brought us together.
Well, to give you a little backstory on that, we worked in the same building before I even had children. And then we ended up working together almost 4 years ago.
Yeah.
No.
About 4 years ago. Yeah.
So give or take. And this happened. Never knew that this would happen.
Sometimes you just find those people that you're just instant friends and it clicks. Yeah.
So the corporate world is a monster.
Necessary, but not for everyone. And I think even though you didn't have an art background, you're still one of those people to me, which is I think why we clicked. You are creative. And I've told you this before. You said you weren't creative, but I think it's only because you haven't been around people that brought that out and helped you nurture that. Me, my dad was the one that got me started in it. I had a tendency towards that, but I had somebody who kind of kindled that. Mm-hmm. And like both my parents, encouraged that. Mama bought me an art desk and like the whole lights and the chair and everything for Christmas one year. I spent hours back there drawing, so I had people that kind of kindled that. Whereas maybe if nobody,
I didn't come from an artist background, whatever. Yeah. My family does gardens. We had horses, all of that. So I'm more of an outdoorsy person. Mm-hmm. Never really stopped long enough to pay attention to things that I wanted to create. I knew that I could look at something and see more sometimes.
Yeah.
But,
you needed to nurture that.
Yes.
And that's something I think I recognized is like, especially with the 3D printing stuff, when you got started into it, the ideas that you just started. She literally sometimes would call me and be like, oh my God, what about this? And I'm like, whoa. So it's there.
Yes.
It's there. And
definitely.
You started to bring that out. And the 3D printing.
Yes. So, if it wasn't for the fact that seeing other people do stuff, and my toxic trait is not that I can do it better, but if I've never done it, I say, oh, I want to do that.
Challenge yourself.
And I will do it until I accomplish it 100%.
Yeah.
So, and not always a good thing. So, but
I think that's something we have in common too, is the determination. Like, yes. I'm going to do this at least once. Like, now I may decide that I hate this.
Yeah.
But I'm going to do it at least once.
I jump head first. So, you know, with you having a friend that did the 3D and you start seeing stuff. But then I started doing research and stuff like that on what all you could 3D print. And I was like, why would I never ever have to go back to Walmart for anything?
Right. All the stuff is like, hey, I need that. I mean, like, even like our fish tank, you know, the reef tank, where Brian was like, I bet you I could print the clamps for the hoses for like the underneath sump and stuff like that. And like, we 3D printed the light shades for the lights over the tank so that it's not glaring in your eye. There's just so much stuff.
Well,
you know,
did y'all know that you can 3D print the toilet top screw? Like the one that holds it in the back?
For the really?
You can print the
I'm not
screw.
surprised. I'm not surprised.
So, I mean, it's pretty amazing the things that you can do. So,
well, I mean, heck, even right now, I mean, one of the cameras that we have going is literally on a 3D printed arm that I created because I needed a arm immediately for the top down for when I did the Fox video, the time lapse. So, you know, it's one of those things. There's so much stuff out there you can print with. So that's kind of what got both of us into it, which also, you know, big D&D nerd right here. I've had a resin printer for several years, and we used it for all of our D&D minis and things like that. The problem with resin, the fumes. Even with the less fumes like resin, it's still the cleanup, you know, all of that stuff. It's just process. So much. And the resin is super brittle. I can't tell you how many minis have got broken because somebody accidentally bumped it and it fell off the table. You know, the detail, amazing. But that's about
the quality and
as much as we could use it for was minis that sit on a table, you know. So it was one of those things I used less and less because I hated coming in here and having to put all the gloves on and deal with the sticky resin that no matter how clean you are, still gets everywhere. And then, you know, the trying to rinse it and curing it and all that stuff, I did less of it. Whereas once the filament printers have come as far as they are, bamboo is where it's at.
Yes.
Plug and play for somebody who's never done filament, like, they're amazing. And just to be able to just do it on the app, make it print, and when it's done, I come in here and pop it off the plate, remove the supports, and that's it.
Yeah.
And they're super sturdy. Most of them you could drop it on the floor and nothing breaks.
Well, I printed a lot of stuff for my studio. Like with me doing the studio on a budget and everything, I printed a lot. Like literally my curtain rods, or the thing that holds the curtains back. Yeah. I printed those. I printed I even printed a shelf that lifted up my AMS so that way I could take the top off. Lord, the things that I have printed just for the studio itself, it's freaking amazing. So, and you know, talking about that, I know that people make these files, so thank you. Don't stop. I love these files because I use them daily in my studio and stuff. But then, like, there's things that I'll look for that I can't find. So that's the reason why I've started creating my own files, which is not as simple as this may seem. But
it's like art. It's a learning process, which I am leaving to you because I cannot do that. And also, you know, continue what I do here and try to improve on. So that's all you.
Well, and I mean, you know, I'm going to leave the drawing to you so that way you can draw and I can create the 3D print file.
Yeah.
You see, it works here. Work and balance here, you know.
Well, and this kind of brings us to when we were in the corporate world, and it was just, it's soul sucking when you're a creative person that wants to make things that are just, you know, I live in a fantasy world. And, you know, the books, which I think we should do in a different podcast, talk about our book journey. But the fantasy books and how, you know, I'm a big gamer. I know you're not, but I have been my whole life.
Hey, I've played Hightail and I like it.
You did do good.
But see, the thing is I'm one of those, if I sit there, I realize I'll look at the clock and I'm
4 hours
oh
is gone.
My God.
Yeah, I know. It goes by so fast. I get sucked into it. But I mean, I've played games since the first one that I got, the Super Nintendo. when I don't know, how old was I? 6, 7. Anyways.
We're not going to talk
We're
about
not going to go there.
Okay?
Nope. Anyways, I've played my whole life. And I was a console gamer and then got into the MMO stuff and went from World of Warcraft that sucked my life away. You want to talk about losing hours? As much as I enjoyed that game and it really had such a good story and things, which I've gotten away from it now. I'm one of those OG WoW players that I'm like, now it's just, y'all done ruined it. But, and everybody has their own opinion. I always say, if you love it now, great, then it's for you. It's not for me anymore. But it was one of those games that you want to talk about monopolizing your time. I didn't even draw or anything because I was a guild leader. And I literally, every waking second that I had that I wasn't doing something necessary to survive, me and Brian were on that. And people got so demanding. That's the problem with some of the MMOs like that is they really just take over your life. And
kind of like the corporate world.
Yeah. And you know what really broke me was back in one of the previous expansions, Shadowlands, which I know you don't know anything about. We got sucked into it and I was enjoying it. But there was a part of the game that was just an hours and hours grind. And anybody who is a gamer, I think will know what I'm talking about. It was a certain tower. And me and Brian had spent hours. It was probably 1 a.m. And we had been playing since the afternoon to get to where we were. But the way it was designed is if you didn't finish the last boss of those sets of levels, you got nothing.
I don't know.
We died. And me and him both sat and stared at the screen, realizing we just wasted hours of our life and got nothing for it. And that was when I never logged in again. And I don't know, it just broke something in me. I was like, this is such a waste. I could be creating real things. Now, I'm still a gamer and I still play. I've become more of a, Hytale, Minecraft, recently into Subnautica. Really good game. A little bit of horror, but it's still fun. I scream a lot. But I will say the one MMO that I love is, I talk about it all the time, Final Fantasy 14. And the community is so much less toxic. Such good people. I've met one toxic person in 6 years of playing that game.
Well, I may not play the games, but the characters are freaking adorable. Okay?
I mean, who doesn't love Alpha? The Chocobos, okay? They're adorable. But, it's one of those games that they've done so well designing it that you can enjoy it, live in that fantasy world, but it doesn't monopolize your time if you don't want it to. You can still enjoy the game and progress, share time with friends, love the housing, the decorating, top notch. But that stuff, you can do, but unlike how Warcraft did to where it was designed to just suck you in for hours or you fell behind, it doesn't do that. So I'm a huge fan of Yoshi P. Good job on that game. So that's something that has inspired some of my art as well. I've not really shared much of that, but I've done character art and things like that. Some of our art prompts we drew our characters from our free company and things. But
well, the first file that I made,
you did the Chocobos.
I was about to say,
yeah.
I created the Chocobos game holder, game control holder, and Jessica literally drew it out on a little piece of paper because I was like, how do you want this to look? And she drew it out on a little piece of paper, sent me a picture of it, and I was like, got it.
And we still need to go back and work on that some more once you learn more. But I mean, 2 alphas holding a PlayStation controller, how cute is that?
And it's got to definitely be modified some more, but it does hold the remote controller. Excuse me. See,
not a gamer.
See, no,
but it's also one of those things too. That was a little too complicated to start with.
Oh yes,
because you're going to need to figure out how to get the exact dimensions of the actual PlayStation controller, how to hold it in there.
Which now my husband Josh has been teaching me how to use the what is that little thing called?
Caliber
or something.
Yes,
that thing.
Words.
Oh, I literally take a picture of whatever little tool I need and I send it to Josh and he brings it home and then he shows me how to do it. So, kudos to my husband, because I would probably be lost without him.
Well, he's good with that kind of stuff. Mine is the computer nerd.
Yes,
that
yes.
is really good on the tech side of things. So, and so glad that they support what we do, what we're trying to do.
Well, to kind of bring it back around and stuff, we met years ago, never even realized that we could have a friendship. Then we started working in the corporate world again for the same company, same department, doing the same thing.
And became the dynamic duo.
Yes, we were really, really, really good at what we did.
Yes.
But there came a point to where it was sucking the life out of us. And we could if it wouldn't have been for each other, we went through the trenches together. And if it wouldn't have been for Jess, I probably would have left way before I did.
Oh, same.
I mean, and then one day, events happen. We made the decision, just literally like that, not planned out. And as soon as we did it, we literally drove to the parking lot, sat in the car, and
cried for a couple hours.
Yes,
because it was scary just walking away from a really good job as far as the money wise, but the stress was not worth it.
It wasn't worth it anymore.
No.
But then, literally sitting there through our tears, we basically looked at each other and was like, "Let's do this."
Yeah.
Let's do it.
We had talked about, because we got to know each other so well, that me with all the art and stuff I do, and you with how much you love the 3D printing, how we could combine the two.
Well, and both of our views too, though. We're two completely different people with two different backgrounds.
It's like the yin and the yang.
Yes. We were literally we're complete opposites, but for some reason it works. It clicks. So literally Jess may have an idea, and we'll be talking about it, and then it just kind of flows together. And we create things that I'm, 5-6 years ago would have never been able to do. Because, you're right. Being around creative people brings out creative sides of people that, normally you look at.
You feed off of each other.
Yeah, and you look at them and you never would really realize somebody has that in them. But then it blooms being with people that loves the same thing that you love.
Well, and I think that's why it's so important to find those people that do bring out those things that you may not have realized that you had, but you love. And I think that's kind of how, when we first, a year ago, started talking about, wow, how awesome would it be for us to have our own business and do what we love, and with the 3D printing and the drawing of how I draw things and say, okay, what if we do this? And you're like, okay, let me see if I can make it into a file. And then from there, it's the refining and stuff. And the current project that we're on, that will be another podcast episode, is because of our love of books and how there's so many cool 3D print files out there for bookends. There really are. One of the problems is they're all so light, because filament is so light. We have the special edition hardback books and things them bad boys are heavy.
Well, and
it doesn't hold them.
And I have the untraditional bookshelves. They're open shelves that my husband built for me. So I need bookends that are weighted, that can hold my books together.
And all the weighted ones in the stores are ridiculously expensive because they're solid granite, or they're just look like they come out of your grandma's house. They're not. I've not seen any that are oh, those are pretty, or have anything to do with fantasy.
Or they're gold and bronze, or
look like they belong in the Victorian area.
Yes, or they come from World War III or something like that.
Well, then we wanted stuff that was reminiscent of the books that we love.
Yes.
And yes, we found some in some of the major book chains, like Books A Million, things like that. But they're still mass produced. Some of the painting on them can be kind of sloppy. They're heavier, but not heavy enough for some of the ones that we had, the big thick books.
Well, not just that though, certain characters, in the books you reading and stuff, you have your main characters, but then you have the animals like Onyx, and they get overshadowed by all the other things.
Yeah.
So,
well, everybody does. And now again, love ACOTAR. That's where it all started. And again, we'll talk about that book journey, how that got rekindled. But, it's so overdone. The Mountain with the Stars, it's everywhere. And again, I love that. I have some of that on my bookshelf. I've got a cereal, all of that kind of stuff. But there are so many other books that we have read that other people like as well, but they're not as well known. Mm-hmm. And there's characters from those books or scenes and things like that we want to bring to life as bookends that are heavy, but also have the detailed 3D printing. I can add some beautiful painted details to them. Because I've had a lot of experience painting 3D, miniatures for D&D and stuff. And anything is easier than painting something that's literally that tall. But we want to create more of that kind of stuff.
Yes.
So hopefully people who love the same books that we have read, will have those options out there. Because I feel like if we have wanted that, people who have that same love for those series will want that as well.
Well, and the fact that we had the opportunity to leave the corporate world,
yeah,
not everybody gets that.
Yeah.
So I want to use my time to be able to create things for people, for us, for other people that are still having to work in the corporate world, may not have an issue with it, mm-hmm, and, but doesn't have the time to be able to create something that they're going to walk in their room and look at it and be like, so us doing this is creating things for people like where we used to be, where if we were still
we just had to buy it.
Yeah. If we were still in the corporate world, we wouldn't be able to create the things that we love so much that makes mm-hmm. us happy. And I know other people has to love it just as much as we do.
Oh yeah.
So,
that's the reason why the whole book talk thing exists and stuff,
So,
and it's interesting, I guess, trying to explain what SideQuest is, but it was born out of a combination of my artistic background and love to create, not just drawings and things, but sometimes whatever I can get my hands on. I got into clay a while back. I love that. That would be one that we should do, because the polymer clay, creating like the fantasy goblets, like the elven stuff, where I wrote like my name in Tolkien Elvish on the bottom, stuff like that. So fun to create, just fun. So I think let us know in the comments if you'd like to see that, because I think that'd be a cool video. I can kind of show how I did it and the ones that I've created. I'd love to see what you create, because I feel like that'd be funny. But
I've seen videos.
It come from my artistic creativity, your desire to do more, and then our love for the books.
Even when you do your art prompts, when you would get stuck, like
You actually gave me some ideas.
I was about to say, like when we used to walk around the parking lot because we wanted to get up and move. So, we would talk the whole entire time about when we were walking about the art prompts.
Yeah.
I'd be like, okay, what about this? What about that?
It's like, I didn't think about that.
Yeah. So,
we've been collaborating on things for a long time.
Well, it makes me happy.
I know, me too. Well, it's funny how somewhere along the line you just find those people that you just were meant to find, that you just, I don't know, it's like
normally you wouldn't combine them. I don't even know if in school we would have found the friendship that we found.
It's where you're at in life sometimes, I think, that you find those people. And
going through the trenches.
Yeah.
Going through the trenches.
Well, that was the thing. Not many people, I think, find somebody working in a corporate office as a coworker that becomes somebody that you trust through and through. Usually there's those agendas and it's like, well, if you get in trouble, well, I don't want any part of that because I got to have my job. And I get that. That's part of that. You got to survive, which is part of what makes it so cutthroat sometimes. Mm-hmm. And people will throw you under the bus.
Well, and my personality, you know me.
You're so genuine.
Powwows, and I am a very honest, blunt person.
Which is why a lot of people didn't like it, but I liked it because I knew when you said something to me, or you said, I'm going to do this, or I have your back, I knew that you meant that. And when all the events happened that caused, when you turned in your 2 weeks, and there was no question at all. Now, terrified about what I was going to do going forward, yes, because we had yet to decide we were doing SideQuest. But the one thing that I knew for sure is I did not want to stay in the corporate setting surrounded by people that, yes, I had friends, and I think there are good people. But at the end of the day, if it come down to it, and I needed somebody to stand by my side, I couldn't think of not one other person that would do it if it put them on the line. And when I knew you were going to have to walk out that door, I was like, oh, well, I'm going to. Well, because that was, I didn't want to do it without you.
It kind of went like this. She was in the bathroom when I went and gave my 2 weeks, or either they told me that I could pack my stuff and stuff. They accepted my 2 weeks. That's what it was. Yeah. So when she come around the corner, after going to the bathroom, I was packing up my stuff, and the only thing she said was, "You leaving?" And I said, "Yeah." And she said, "Oh, well, I got mine ready. Let's go."
Already had it typed up. Yeah.
So this was a literally,
and nothing against the company.
No.
But it's one of those things that they were going a different direction than what we were able to go. And we were kind of ready to check out and do something that wasn't so just corporate, anyways. Because I think both of us have that creative soul. And it like we said, it's life-sucking. You just feel yourself withering away. We would send all of these TikToks and memes and stuff back and forth every day that, everybody watches and totally relates to because of, when you cross that threshold and you're just like, oh, another day, like what's today? And we were both so tired of that. And like, there's got to be more to life than this. I mean, because you only get one life to live.
Yes.
And to spend 8 hours, 5 days a week doing that, sometimes 9 hours or more, even like coming home. It affected, with me and Brian, like, because all the crap that I would deal with. How many times he had said, "You've got to get out of that."
Yeah.
And, I so love and appreciate how he supports me trying to do this. Now, it all depends on y'all and how much y'all enjoy what we do, but we really want to be able to share a creative journey. But we wanted to kind of give our origins of like why we're here, what we want to do. We just want to create a channel to where we share all things creative, where our brain goes with stuff, and it's all going to be, related to the things we love. The books, the fantasy. Some of mine pulls from games where I'm inspired. But we want to create things that are 3D printed or drawn, combine that stuff, physical things. Who knows? Like I said, we might take the glasses and do the polymer clay and do something on that. The book bedazzling. I love doing that.
Well, crocheting. I bought the little kit to test it because the thing is I want to try new stuff.
Well, and I did do the crocheting and stuff, because I had the previous business with Dragon's Bane where I did, resin dice for D&D and crocheted the dragon scale dice bags and stuff. And I enjoyed doing that for a while, but that was one of those things, unfortunately, the business got so demanding that I couldn't physically make those products fast enough for the demand, which is why I ended up letting that one go. And I still loved that, but resin is also something that,
yeah,
I really think even with the respirator and all that, I think I still have some repercussions from the fumes of that. Like that was,
we're not going down that road again. So with all that being said, we're going to use this channel to test out new things.
Take you along for the ride.
Yes. To show that, it doesn't work out always because as in the bookends, which we'll talk about in another podcast, I thought it was a simple thing. It's not. I have had many fails. Now the whole family is in on the project and watching, and like we're all learning, and we want to share this with people that doesn't have the opportunity like we did to get out of the corporate world. So, because understand, you may have to work to provide for your family. Well, maybe this will give you a little piece of pie that makes you laugh, makes you say, "Oh my gosh, look how creative that is." Or inspires you to
do a weekend project,
yes, or hey, I want that on my shelf, or like, okay, wow,
Yeah.
We just want to make
share our own creativity with the world.
And, we're in a world that's so opinionated and thinks you should be this. Me being a mother of 4, I mean, I always feel like I'm in this little box that's like, hey, your true definition is being a mom to those kids, making sure they've got this, they've got that. What about the things that I want to do too? Like, I mean,
because you can be you and have the things that you enjoy
So,
in addition to that. It's not an either or,
and
you know?
I mean, the things that I have been creating, I sat and let all the kids watch your drawing. All of them watched it and thought it was amazing. They get to see things and learn from all the things that we're doing.
Well, then maybe it'll inspire them.
Yes.
So when they get older, if they want to do that kind of stuff. And, you know, even like doing these kind of videos, we also thought to try this because I enjoy watching something that's real. Real people just doing their thing, and I watch more of this kind of stuff than I do like actual, you know, production TV shows, because everything nowadays, you know, the first season might be great and then it just falls off, or, you know, it has some kind of agenda push, or, you know, regardless of what it is.
Opinions of the box that you've got to be in.
Yeah, no more just like, just be yourself. Who cares what everybody else is doing, and just enjoy like what you do. And so that's why I watch a lot of, I love art channels, or even just like the podcast that I watch, a lot of the streamers that I watch. I love watching game streamers. Honestly, that's probably 99% of what I watch. And I don't watch, no puppy, don't come in here. No, stay. My dog is trying to come in here. But I enjoy that, watching real people who are just chatting. And I don't know, maybe at some point, if people were interested, I'd love for us to do like a stream to where we talked to a chat and answered questions and things, or, you know, got told, hey, we'd like to see you do this or do that. And we're just getting started. We got a janky camera set up.
I like to laugh too, by the way, y'all. And I have a real dry sense of humor.
I would not call it dry, honey. More like gutter, but
maybe.
But, you know, I think that's part of the interesting more of that yin and yang, is because you're the very outspoken, toe that line of should you have said that or not? And I'm the one that's like, oh God. So, you know, but I think it works.
Yes.
And I think that's why I think we take from each other. It's kind of one of those things that's a balance. But we really hope that
y'all start following us.
If you made it this far,
yes.
Thank you. We appreciate it. We are trying to get started with this. We're having to learn how to do cameras, lighting, video editing,
3D file editing,
3D file
creating.
editing. I mean, I already know, the good thing is I already know the art stuff. So, you know, that is something I'm just continually trying to get better with. But trying to learn how to video that, trying to not feel stupid talking to the camera. So, you know, we really hope it's something that people will take interest in, because we want to get better at it. It's like becoming a multi-career person all at the same time.
Yes.
And I'm getting a really good understanding of, when I watch other like YouTubers and streamers, of like, people think it's easy. We're just getting started, and I can tell you it's not. It's so many things that you didn't think about until you have to start learning how to do it. And so,
I didn't realize that it was such a big deal about lighting. But I also don't want to look yellow or green or anything like that.
Well,
so, you know.
A janky light right there.
Which, I told her, you know, she could put the green light on and make me look like I got glowing green eyes.
Feeling like the Wicked Witch of the West.
Well, you know, depends on what day it is.
You're the one that called me a T-Rex the other day. You know.
Hey, you know.
There are those days. Patience runs thin. But I feel like this is just kind of a backstory of how we got to where we are. Our plan is, moving forward, you're going to see us talk about our books that we love, the new ones that drop, the stuff that we're 3D printing, or art prints that I'm creating that come from that. But it's not going to be just that. We're definitely book talk girlies.
Yes.
But I'm also a gamer girl. You're a gardening and plants lady.
Well, and you know, I have goats, ducks, ponies.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can say this, but I'm not going to say this. What I usually call my children. So, but I have those too.
Oh, gosh.
I mean, you know, it's so.
Well, all of that combined, we also have critters. This is Cisco.
He's the burnt weenie.
He is. He's a Chiweenie. He's a spoiled boy. But, you know, we're going to combine all of that into a creative channel, kind of DIY as well, because we want to show the process. So like what we're talking about with the bookends, we're going to create an episode for everything we do from start to finish. So right now we're in the beginning stages of that. We'll show that. We'll talk about that, the failures, the stuff we have to overcome.
And y'all could even give us options, like if we should try something different. Because I mean, we need opinions, not ugly, judgmental opinions. Okay? Honest opinions.
Yeah.
But don't be ugly. But
we're here to create stuff that's fun and, a positive vibe. But also plan on doing the art prompt videos to where I do more of the draw with me kind of stuff, show my whole process. And I'm curious as if like anybody would be interested, as if I give the art prompts and, give everybody time before my video comes out, like do little short videos.
To see what you might think it would be.
He's trying to come to you now.
He loves me though.
Yeah. And then, I'd love to see other people's arts, like even though I have the art club and stuff, how cool it would be to see other people's takes on it and share that with us. We can put the links to our, how to contact us down below. And then when my video comes out, I think it'd be awesome to see, to share with everybody and create an artist community to where, I'll let everybody know what the prompt is, and then you try to do your own take on it. You'll see mine, I'll see yours, and who knows, maybe it could help inspire other artists as much as this inspired me.
Well, the whole point in this is to be able to reach people that were kind of in the box like we were.
Yeah.
And
open the box.
Yes. Enjoy life in all the colors.
Yeah.
And all the books and all the fantasies. And for people like me that normally wouldn't be, I would have never found this side of me if it wouldn't have been for meeting you and getting back into reading. And then also, like, even the 3D. I would have never even thought about the 3D printer if it wouldn't have been for your friend getting a 3D printer. And
I started showing you all the things, and you're like, what?
and I'm one of those that, like, I was like, I don't want to buy that. I want to do it myself.
Yeah.
So, people like us, people that not like us, because as you can tell, yin and yang here, you don't have to have similarities to enjoy the things.
Yeah. Sometimes opposites are a good thing. Yes. You challenge each other.
So, let's be honest. Why not create everything that we possibly can? That's the world we live in.
Yeah.
So do it together. I don't care where you're from.
Make your mark on the world. Yes. Everybody is unique. And that to me is why I love the artistic world in general, regardless of what type of art or just creativity it is. It's your take on the world, and you add something that nobody else does because you are one in the millions of billions there are, and your ideas are yours.
Well, and with this, though, it doesn't matter what you look like. It doesn't matter what you sound like. It doesn't matter where you came from, where you're going, anything. This is just literally living life to its fullest, enjoying it.
And sharing it together with other people who want to do the same.
And I'm going to laugh, again, like I said. So, you see me fall, you're probably going to see me fall, laugh, tinkle a little bit, because, I got a bomb bladder. Get back up.
No filter.
So,
content warning.
Join us on this journey. Enjoy it with us.
And let us know what you think, or if you have any ideas that you would like to see.
Help our dreams come true.
Yeah, like we really want to make a go of this and get better at it to bring better content, to give everybody something to watch that you'd actually want to see. So, but also do things that we enjoy.
Well, and we're also going to be creating these things to be able to sell them for you to have them on your shelf. If
we will have a shop for art prints.
Yes.
Hopefully when the bookends are completed, not if, when. Stuff like that we create that goes along with even, games. Got to be careful with that because I can't exactly create exact replicas and things, but stuff, that I enjoy that has to do with games, fantasy books, or just, cool stuff in general.
Well, and the way I like to look at it is like the characters and the little creatures and all the things that get left behind.
Yeah.
We want to bring that to light.
Yeah.
Let's shine the light on all of it.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no shadows, no gray areas here. This is just honest, raw creativity, artists, people.
Yep.
Living life, trying to make something out of it while we have the opportunity, because not everybody gets this opportunity. Yep. So, like Jess said, if you made it this far, thank you so much. I don't know how to express how much I appreciate it if you are following us or starting to follow us, because this is a journey that I never would have thought about taking. And
yeah, it's a new one.
I don't want to get to a stop sign or a dead end. I want to keep going. Mm-hmm. I want so much.
Me too.
So
got lots of ideas, a lot of cool stuff that we want to do.
And we're always open to any opinions, things that y'all may think y'all want to hear us talk about, because Jess is going to be your sweet side of it, and then
I don't know if I'm always sweet. T-Rex, remember?
And then, you got your salty sides with a little humor.
It works. But all that being said, that's kind of our origin story and where we come from, what we plan to do with SideQuest, the long version.
Yes.
So thank you so much for watching. And please go like and subscribe.
Yes.
We'll do our little plug. And we do have a website that will be working on that as well. I'll have prints there of a lot of my artwork to start with, and then as Mallory gets better with the 3D print files, we'll have some of that stuff up there, the bookends and things.
Well, once I get the bookend, it will definitely be on there, because if you're like me, Lord Jesus knows I need all the bookends in the world. Because the subscriptions hadn't stopped coming in.
Nope.
The shelves hadn't stopped filling up, but I have not got the bookend to where I need it to be. So,
but we're going to get it there.
Yes.
And we're going to take you along for the journey. So,
yes.
Thank you for watching, and please look out for our next videos. We're going to try to have out once a week. They'll be alternating, I think. Some we'll do the podcast. Some will do the art when I have art prompts ready, 3D prints as we go, projects, things like that. But thank you for watching, and we hope to see you again next time. Bye.